Go ahead.
It's okay. So welcome to the BIPOC uh, initiative monthly meeting. If it's your first time around, we would love you to introduce yourself. Anyway, while you're at it, please put yourself in the agenda attendees list. We would also love to know where you're from if you want to put it. Otherwise, just don't put it. It's what you want. So, Chad, you're new. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure, that's no problem. I'm Chad Stewart. I'm a software engineer from Kingston, Jamaica. Actually, mostly I guess I'm more full stack now, but I'm interested in, I guess I've been attending a lot of the platform coffees and some of the working group meetings for that organization. So I saw this meeting and I just decided to investigate. And yeah, so that's pretty much me.
Nice to have you around, Chad. I'm going to put again the link of the agenda in the chat so that the people that just joined can put their names on it. Hey, Ashwin,
Hi.
you are new around? Is it the first time here?
Yes, first time for me. Yes.
Oh, so do you want to introduce yourself then, since I have you right
Yes.
away on screen?
I saw your. It was a Cloud Native Day in Amsterdam. I think January or December, and
Oh yeah,
you, William, were on stage and you were promoting this initiative. So I thought, yeah, that's really cool. Uh, and then it's all new for me. So I joined Slack and read about all this, and I saw the live stream. So I thought, yeah, that's something really cool to be a part of. So now I'm here and try to contribute or help where I can.
nice, very nice to have you here, Ashwin,
Thank you.
and very nice that the promotion of the group worked.
Yeah, yeah.
um, all right, I don't think we have anyone else new. Okay, if you guys want to go ahead, Ashwin, if you want to go ahead and you put your name in the attendees list,
Yep.
you it's nice if you do. Not there, Ashwin. Below there is. You see below there is May
Oh yeah,
13th. I mean, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Also there was, but yeah, that's the template. Um, okay, so before we get started, we got started, but let's remind ourselves that this is an official meeting of CNCF, and therefore we stand by the code of conduct of CNCF, which boils down to treat the others like you would like to be treated, with aka with respect. Um, the one additional thing is that we are very close to our brothers and sisters in the deaf and hard of hearing. So some important things. Please do not talk over each other, because some of us have their, shall I say, translator. Yeah, okay, and it makes quite some work for the person that is translating if we are talking over each other. Okay, so the first item, Catherine, do you want to say something? I see that you went off mute.
Oh, no, I was going to say, so they rely on captions.
Captions.
As we can imagine, captions do not work well when people talk at the same time. So,
Correct.
I
Okay.
just want to let you guys know I'm getting interpreted in a meeting pretty soon.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to show up anytime now.
Okay.
And
Do you want us to wait a little bit longer, Travis, or you want us to move forward?
Yeah, no, just go on.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The first, Rachel, is the first time that I see you. Are you new? You want to introduce yourself?
It's Rachel. We met at the London EU. I'm not on camera because I'm a bit of
Oh, I know you are. Yes, AWS.
yeah, AWS. Hi, everyone.
Yes.
Travis, Destiny. We also met at the last KubeCon as well. So nice to see everyone again. But I'm Rachel Leakin. I'm a container specialist architect at AWS, working with startup customers.
Nice. Nice to see you here, Rachel. Sorry, one moment. Travis, you were at the last KubeCon in London?
No, at North America in Salt Lake City.
You are in Salt Lake City, but also you, Destiny, you were not in London.
Um,
No, okay, because I was, and I thought I didn't see anyone.
No, sorry. Yeah, I met them at the Yukon. Sorry, the Utah KubeCon.
Yeah. Okay. So the first item in the agenda is an item that was not in the agenda. So it's the name of the group, BIPOC group. So the BIPOC is something that in the United States is understood and known, but in Europe it's not really well known, and we have seen also at KubeCon London that many people did not attend the sessions that we had because they didn't know what it was. They simply didn't know what BIPOC means. They didn't think about Googling it. It's not really intuitive. So a group of us is working on a different name. I think, Travis, you are involved in there. I think you are involved in looking for a different name. I'm not sure. I know Mark is involved. I know Kalea is involved. I know Catherine. Um, so this is something that is happening. We would like to hurry on that aspect. One other thing that is are there questions on this?
Maybe just a note that our goal is to come up with a few ideas and then put them in the chat so everyone can have a say and maybe also come up with their own ideas. But we didn't want to say like we need a new name and then have like the whole discussion. So we wanted to have like some concrete ideas and then start the conversation from something versus just not having anything to offer. But everyone will get a say, so it's not like we're determining the name, and so just wanted to clarify that.
Absolutely. Second part on speaking of change is the charter. So we want to expand the charter on more than diversity, on more than color, on more than status, if it makes sense. So I'm drafting a new charter that I wanted to. I know it's going to sound horrible, but I'm going to say it should be more inclusive of also non-black people or indigenous people or people of color. I know it sounds horrible what I'm saying, but let's focus more on community. Let's focus more on everyone than just black, indigenous, and people of color. Which, to be honest, to me, indigenous it would be enough saying indigenous, because anyone born in the country, anyone native of the land where they are, is an indigenous, regardless if it's Germany, if it's the United States, if it's Canada or whatever. But it doesn't sink in the language of many. So for many, indigenous means either Native American or Native New Zealand or Native Australian. So I think we should review all these terms that we're using, and we should be a little bit more sensitive on several aspects and connotations of these terms. Anyone wants to say something on this?
Maybe one addition. I think a lot of the things that we were discussing as well is, which would hopefully be reflected also in the charter, is the focus on allyship, right? So it's also like kind of like the community, but also like allyship and empowering allies. So versus just like focusing on different communities, which makes it also more inclusive, as you said, right? So it's like we do have people from all different backgrounds, including white people like me. So, and then as allies, and so kind of like there are like two sides of it, right? Like people from the different communities, underrepresented groups, and then people who are the allies, and then empowering allies, and how we can basically build a majority, right? I think it's always about that. How can we create a majority that advocates for a more inclusive community?
Chad, you want to say something?
Yeah, I guess go in terms of the name, just wanted to ask exactly what would be the end goal of the group, like how is it that, I guess, what are we moving towards? Because then it could also, at least it help me understand how the name should how do I put this? The name should help with representing the goals of the group.
You are raising an absolutely valid point, Chad. And indeed, one could argue that we cannot have the name of the group if we don't have a charter with missions and goals first. So you are absolutely spot on. I will be drafting out a new charter with those goals, with those values, with those missions, which are the same as they are now. However, we are not going to address the terms Black people, Indigenous people. We're going to address everyone. We're going to address a community. We're not going to address only a section of that community. Did I answer, Chad?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
Yep. Destiny?
Yes. I get what you're saying, for just anyone to join, but I was gonna originally say that usually in the deaf community, when we're trying to come up with a new name, we sort of look at everyone's like a term. We see everyone's term for that. So what term do you guys use in your country or region that relate to community, that relate to being an ally, that relate to being diversity or different than, your coworkers, your community or whatever? What words do you guys use? And maybe we can come up with something together in that way.
And that is exactly the problem, Destiny, because we don't have that. We don't. In Europe, we might use some terms. So Europe is a very diverse uh, melting pot of cultures. So and standardizing on something that one culture might use might be offensive or not offensive, maybe, or but might be excluding another culture. So we might want to come up with a term that is or a name that is evoking some ideas rather than calling out some principles, some established columns in the society, or in the, let's say, in the Dutch society, or in the German, or in the Italian society. So we might want to use terms that are evoking principles rather than calling out specific, like diversity, equity, and inclusion. We know what that means. We know where that comes from. We know we know all about it. We're not going to do that. Catherine?
Yeah, and I think like also like one, not I'm gonna say mistake, but the fact that we were using BIPOC and it's very US centric, and then we were having a little bit of confusion at the beginning because it sounded like this group is there to kind of, you know, work towards US focused like problems that people have, you know, and it's not like, and so I think like having you, I mean, the CNCF, yes, is based in the US, but like the Cloud Native community is very global. And so we have to talk about it in a more global way and not kind of giving the impression that it is more focused on that community in the US. And it is a little challenging because depending on where you are, there you have different challenges, right? Like, or different, like your experience will vary a lot, but I think that's a interesting a challenge to have. And I think like we're going to learn a lot because like we're going to hear from so many different people and their experiences in their respective countries. But I think like that term, like having like also like having BIPOC being very US centric creates that impression. And we had a discussion that I think like kind of also that might have affected it, where there was a little confusion about what our goals are. And it's cloud native, it's open source, it's global, and it's more inclusive around all the experiences in the world.
It's very important, I think, that our message does not change. Our goals do not change, but we have to be, I think we have to be more intelligent on how we deliver the message, how we call ourselves, and we have to be more intelligent about it for many reasons, for reach, and also to protect what the initiative is, right? Make sure that it stands the time, when it's positive time, when it's negative time, when we want to, whatever initiative we want to bring forward. If we're talking about Black, Indigenous, and people of color, we are putting ourselves in a box. It's obvious. I mean, if we don't, if we talk about community, if we talk about I don't know, we still have to continue finish drafting the charter. But if we're talking about community, we are talking about everyone, regardless of status, regardless of color, regardless of religion. It's anybody.
But just to be clear, we still are focusing on underrepresented, like kind of like helping and empowering voices of underrepresented groups. Just absolutely. Not, yeah.
Yes, that's me. Yes, Destiny, you wanted to say something?
Chad was first. Sorry.
Oh, Chad was first. Sorry, Chad was first.
Oh, please go ahead. I can go afterwards.
It's okay. You're off mute. Go on, Chad.
Oh, yeah. So I was considering, that the goal of the group is to serve underrepresented groups and effectively and uplift their voices. And I mean, I don't know if I'm stepping out of line. Why not just make the name of the group unrepresented, or a variation of underrepresented, because that seems like it seems very direct as to the group's mission, while also being inclusive, because then underrepresented is a much broader set of people.
I just a parenthesis. I like the unrepresented. When I know you made a mistake, but I kind of liked the unrepresented. Sounds very strong. So I like it. Chad, I'm not saying no. I'm not saying yes. propose the name, argument it, and let's see what sticks. So, Destiny?
Yes, I was gonna say that why don't we put unrepresented, because I understand what you're saying. You don't want to put us in a box, but at the same time, we're in the box because we don't have a safe space to express what's going on. Everyone has their own different experience. We don't have to put everyone's experience in a box, but we do want to make a space where we can come to ask for advice. Anything. We all know everything that we need. I think this would be better if we say unrepresented because it's a general term. It could be for anyone.
I agree.
Don't have to necessarily focus on one culture or group of culture, but anyone that feels unrepresented in any shape or form. I think that would be a great name.
I agree. I agree, Destiny. Okay, so let's unpack more. So we have not been asked to be specific. So all that I'm saying now, it's coming from myself. So we have not been asked to be changing our terms or changing our wording. But we had, well, I had a feeling that there might have been some implications on the words used in the charter. Words like diversity, words like black, words like indigenous, people of color, all these things. The implication that there are strictly related to the government that some of the people in this call are under the United States. So there are organizations that are being targeted by the U.S. government because they have diversity programs, because they have some individuals are being seen as activists because they just have black people's interested art or indigenous people interested art. So we need to make sure that none of us, and not the Linux Foundation, not the CNCF, fall into this targeting machine that is going on at the moment. So I do love the idea, the concept that Chad expressed, also Destiny expressed, of the unrepresented. I know I keep saying unrepresented because I kind of like that term more than underrepresented. Let's look into it. Let's look into that, if it's a factable thing. But nevertheless, we have to be sensitive about what we write in the charter and how we call this group. Catherine?
Yeah, and I wanted to say we do have several groups of like underrepresented groups, right? We have the deaf and hard of hearing. There is a small but hopefully growing blind and visually impaired group initiative, LGBTQ plus. So this is not, we don't want to dilute the goals of this group by, so it's good because different groups have different challenges. And like even in this group, as we were saying, there are different people in different countries with very different challenges. So I think that's enough diversity kind of in that sense to kind of focus on, because we need to be focused. Otherwise, everyone is gonna, like, I think this group should be focused on what this particular community, which is already very diverse, needs. So I would not want to kind of like dilute it by saying we're going to focus on all underrepresented groups because they have their own. And the idea is of that exactly, that every community can focus exactly on what they need. And yeah, so as William was kind of like alluding, we're being a little cryptic, but we're just trying to be proactive. and maybe be less obvious about what we do when you Google us. That's basically it. And the BIPOC thing, one issue that, like the whole thing that being American centric, that is an issue that was discussed before. William brought up maybe it's a good time to be less obvious in the way we talk about it, but that should not take away in the boldness of us pursuing our goals, which still remain the same.
I know, Destiny, you want to say something, I think, but we are not. So this BIPOC thing, the name BIPOC had to go. I mean, even the black people, indigenous, and people of color, they don't understand what it means, unless they are in the United States. But I apologize for not being very crystal clear from the beginning, but it's obvious that, of course, you guys are very intelligent and you question the meaning of not using underrepresented or specific terms. But that's what it is. So these are the stronger. We have not, important thing to know, we have not been asked to change a word of what we do. This is a proactive action. So it's not something that anyone said, oh, you guys have to do this or else that's the door. It's absolutely not. I have even requested to remove my video from my speech from YouTube, and the CNCF insisted for me to keep it, but I specifically asked not to keep it. So this is it. Ashwin, you want to say something?
Yeah, for me personally, I kind of like the term BIPOC. It's catchy, but now I understand it's a loaded term, and also more from the US. And what Chad was saying about underrepresented, I think we need to focus more on not where we are now, but the goal, and that means empowerment, or like diversity empowerment, and not too broad. I think because we have a goal, and that should be our brand, with a good name. And I know it's hard to select a good name, or to come up with a good name that everyone understands all around the globe and in every country.
Yeah, it's hard, but we will get there. We will find something, and it will be good. I will be drafting out a new charter. Just very important is that the goals stay the same. Our goals are not changing. We are just changing wording. We are being more sensitive about the wording, but the goals stay absolutely the same. Yeah, Destiny?
I agree with what he just said. I do like BIPOC because it's very heavily in the US, but I understand in other countries it's not a good idea. But just another thought. I understand many of us can have like different viewpoints, different goals and different things. Is there a way to make maybe this like an access point where all of us are unrepresented and we come here and we find a specific group that we want to be in, like the deaf and hard of hearing, the LGBT, or like if there was a BIPOC group, if people are more drawn to that instead. Just an idea. I don't know if that will work because I know many of us can be very like unsure about a group because some of us, like you said, you don't want to put us in a box. but some of us, we do need that space to be able to express, and like I said, the safe space. And if it's not doable for this initiative, then we can make it general and just an access point where we can help people guide them to where they would fit better in. I don't know. Just an idea. Because I know we can't, I feel like this group is kind of too big to cater good for a specific person or to a small number of people.
I understand. Makes sense, Destiny. Catherine?
Yeah, so we do have that overarching group. We're working on that, which is Merge Forward, which is a Linux Foundation-wide initiative, which will only launch with accessibility right now. But the whole idea is Merge Forward is the home for all diversity groups, right? So that is the whole idea. You have one group and then you have all the diversity groups within it. And basically Merge Forward, if you think about it, I like the name because it's basically you have like when you have all these different branches, right? Like which are all diversity groups, and then we merge all in one together. That's kind of like the meaning of it. So we do have that. I mean, it's still in the works. It's not officially launched. It will have to launch with accessibility only first, but eventually all other groups are going to fall under that one. And that is the idea, that you have like one overarching initiative, and eventually all the leads of the different initiatives can have a meeting together so they know and can learn from each other, because there are certainly things where the synergies and so on, you know, where we can learn from each other. So groups should not work on their own, like only like in silos, but like when they're working on specific things, they should focus on their specific needs, not on every underrepresented group, because then it dilutes it, but they should all collaborate and see where synergies are, and then kind of like, so that's at least the vision. So that's why we want people to be focused, but also collaborate on things where it makes sense and learn from each other, right? Like I think the deaf and hard of hearing is the oldest group. So I'll always use, as you know, I use them as a example of what these diversities group can do. So I think there's a lot the other groups can kind of learn from and so on. So we definitely want to foster that.
There's another idea too. We also have the deaf and the blind group too. That's not in the deaf and hard of hearing group. So just a suggestion, if you feel like BIPOC is not really suitable for you, then maybe we can like split into another group and have BIPOC, and then have something else that you feel will be more focused for everybody else as well. Just an idea.
I don't think that this group has reached a point yet where we say our goals are too different. It's just like what we're saying is that if you're in the Netherlands and you're a person of color, you have different challenges as if you're in the US, or if you are in Australia, you know, like, or so it's different challenges, but I think there are probably a lot of commonalities. And basically, I mean, if you think about the goals of these groups, is like advocacy, right? Like it's educating the community about the or empowering. Now I like to talk about empowering the community to be better allies, right? Understanding challenges and how they can become a better ally. Visibility, ensuring that people from that community, whichever community it is visible, right, on stage, in conversation where it matters. And then building a supported network where people can provide career advice for younger generations, network, help each other with job searches and so on. So that is, I think these are like global goals for all of them. It makes it, but like how that looks like may be a little bit different. So I don't think that we ran into a problem that we have to split this group into several groups. If that happens, you know, when we were just talking, we have 2 people actually in the group who are from Indigenous descent. So that's only 2 people. It's like, and I connected them because I was like, and you should meet each other because that's a very small group. We have more people who are like from African descent, and then so a few people from it. So I think we're still small. Like at least people who show up. I don't think we've ran into issues that our goals are kind of colliding. If that happens, if we become so big that we see like, oh, we really need to break up, well, let's do it. But sure will.
Well, I think everything that you said is correct, Catherine. We don't have groups. We don't have interests that are not. So we don't have individual or group interests that are conflicting. What we have is another problem: is that we are not enough representative of each group to understand each other. And I give an example. I made a evaluation mistake because I'm a black man in the Netherlands and I'm not even Dutch. And I made an evaluation mistake when another member of the group was making some comments regarding the situation in the United States. And my initial response was not empathic enough, because I made an evaluation mistake because it's not my society, it's not my situation, so I cannot relate immediately. Afterwards, I did understand and I could relate, but because we don't have enough representative of each community, then we can keep making those mistakes, and then eventually it's also good making those mistakes because then we learn and we move forward. So splitting the group is not something that I think is the problem. The problem is, like, again, something that you said before, even Destiny, or Chad said before, is focusing the group more. So let's build that chart. Let's rebuild the charter. Let's refocus and move forward.
But I think if I understand correctly, most of the goals, like give underrepresented groups more time on the stage and help with job search, and also the mentorship. That one I really liked. That are just goals for no matter what background you are, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So Ashwin, you are correct. So the thing is that this type of so the intention was, and maybe still is, to focus on underrepresented group or people with less reach or Black, Indigenous, and people of color. The intention is still to do that. It's still to address and be attentive of the underrepresented. We just have to be a little bit more cautious on how we call ourselves and how we address ourselves. That's all. But the goal is, as I said before, the goal has not changed and it's going to stay the same. I think there is more of a reason to do it now.
And if I can add to that, so I think first of all, one thing, so I kind of like initiated or kind of suggested to start many of these groups, right? And I've been talking to some people, and like there were so many diversity and inclusion initiatives in the Linux Foundation that died out. And I heard one of the reasons might have been, or in one example, it was like you had all these different people and everyone wanted to pursue their goals. And at the end, it was just like a terrible experience because people were just like, it makes sense. Like if you're from a community, you want to focus on your needs. It's like, because like whatever the other person from the other community was really worried, like kind of what their priority was not necessarily your priority. So having groups broken down in different communities makes sense, so you can focus on that specific needs, even if there is a diversity within that, and there's always diversity because we're humans and we're very different. So I think like making it more focused makes sense for the visibility and networking and supportive network. Yes, that could be for all, but at the same time, sometimes it's important for younger people to have mentors from their own community, right? Versus like anyone, and see, and so like having people within a group and see like, wow, you see all these people of color who are like great speakers, and like that is really cool for the younger generations. And just to see that same thing for the deaf and hard of hearing, you know, like we have a few people who are on stage all the time, and it's like just very I mean, it's just great to see it, and like it makes you feel like I can that too, right? Like if you put all together, it kind of dilutes it. So I think it just makes sense to have it smaller, but like also kind of give people the opportunity to connect and learn from each other. And like I love, for instance, having Destiny and Travis here, who are from the Deaf and Hard of Hearing working group, but they're also BIPOC community members, right? And like having that, I think, is great. Yeah, so I think that makes sense. For the advocacy, that's where you really need to focus on the specific things. For instance, advocacy, deaf and hard of hearing, whatever we've been working on best practices for KubeCon. How are you accessible, right? Like for deaf and hard of hearing individuals. Nothing relevant for the BIPOC group unless you are part of that community too. So it's like, that's like, if you had like a big group that is working on that, then the people who are hearing and want to kind of focus on BIPOC issues would be like, oh, now we're focusing on this, and what about my thing? So it's like, you know, so I think like there is, so it does make sense to kind of group them together. So each community is focused on specific things. And I think also I've been thinking a lot about, because we had the discussion, what can we say and what can we not say? And it's just like, and again, it's just being proactive. But it is like, I don't know if you've been following the news here, but it's like, it's pretty heavy, right? So what we want to do is like not raise any flags. And so how can we talk about it? And I think the way I've been thinking about it, which is what I would want us to do anyways, instead of focusing on the bad things and like what's broken, you know, which we could be doing, we could be talking about what's broken and this is terrible and what are the barriers. That also, like, the world is currently broken, so people don't have a lot of energy to hear one more sad story. Let's focus on what is working and how we can. And one thing that I can tell you that is working, and I've seen it with the Deaf and Hard of Hearing working group, is there is a lot of people who want to help. People are like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, I'm sure there are like people who don't care at all, but I feel really the vast majority of people, even if it's not the vast majority, if it's just 50%, you know, but it feels like a lot of people, they are very open, they want to help. So it's like, instead of focusing on what's broken, let's focus on what's working and that's like the people that are willing to help, and let's empower them to become allies. And I think like that positive language, talking about like, this is how you can help, these are the challenges that we have, and this is how you can, you know, you step in and help. That is much more positive, and I think it will also raise a lot fewer flags with people who are kind of like, because people are kind of like sensitive with, oh, you're telling this again, and this is bad, and this is bad, you know, like people who may kind of think this is, you know, like may kind of say like, oh, I don't like what they're doing. If we keep the message really positive and focus on empowering allies and so on, I think automatically that the language or the way we talk about it will have a lot fewer, because we're not going to talk about racism and, you know, kind of things. Let's just forget about that. Let's focus on the good things and our allies. And so I feel like that the opportunity in that constraint that we're putting on ourselves, to be clear, just maybe that we can be more positive, focus more on those as, and I feel people will be more willing to participate, because again, like there's so much sadness going on in the world where you know, like, so like you don't want to hear another sad story. So Destiny.
Thanks. Yeah, got Destiny. Yeah.
Yeah, to add what Catherine's saying, so for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing group, we do have some people that come in and express their experience, and it can be like really bad to the point we'll be like, okay, so we'll get together and we'll talk with that person, and then we'll be like, okay, what can we do to make this message positive? Just in a working that we just did, we just let that one of our other members just added, said, hey, you know, this message that you put, it seemed like we're blaming the hearing community for all of our issues. So let's change the message. So this is what this is, just a community together to help each other in any way. Many people might not agree with that message that that person put, but we came together as a working group and was just like, hey, let's try to change this message. Or, you know, but in an agreement, not like, you know, someone said maybe you shouldn't do that, or you shouldn't do that. But I mean, like, we came together and was like, okay, let's try to make this message positive. And when we talked with that person, it became a better experience. Like, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, let's change this around. That goes for anything we do. Like even in our meetings, when someone expressed that something's going on, we take those few minutes to try to give that person advice and suggestion. And then, you know, once the meeting ends, we lead it to Slack and add more to it and elaborate. So I think we should probably do that here in a sense. I don't think we should focus too much on the name. I do agree if you feel like, oh, in general, we should change it to BIPOC. I agree. Unrepresented, that's a vote for me. As far as everything else we can keep, I just think we need to like have more open discussion in the Slack to lead to positive stories, to lead to positive goals and um, things that Catherine was just talking about, not necessarily just focus on the bad things, but turn those bad things into positive things, if that makes sense.
Agreed. Rachel, you say your piece. We are 2 minutes over, but please say your piece.
Okay. Just quickly on saying positive and I think negative. I personally kind of, when we say positive, negative, it seems kind of negative, like we're complaining. I kind of want to say if we turn these things into actionable items, I rather like say, instead of saying make it a positive, let's like, hey, let's turn it into an actionable item. That just a little wording, because kind of when you kind of say like, oh, we don't want to hear anything negative, it just makes me feel like you don't want to listen to me. As versus saying, let's focus on making the outcome of our meetings or the Slack messages being actionable items that we can take forward or something like that. Just a little bit on the wording there for me personally.
Makes sense. Makes absolute sense. Okay, folks, we are 3 minutes over, and it feels like I'm interrupting something that was starting getting interesting. So sorry about that. I have shared the charter as it is now in the chat. I'm really happy to have seen you all guys here. Destiny has been with us since the beginning, but she had decided that for a couple of months we were not worth it. So I'm joking, I'm just joking. Ashwin, Rachel, Chad, I hope to see you. I hope to see you soon. Ashwin, maybe I'll see you face to face somewhere, since we are both in Netherlands. I will. What's going to happen? I will draft this charter. Now you guys know what's happening, why it's happening. The name, it's open to everyone to express their feelings about it. And it's open to everyone to comment on it with respect. And please, whatever name, if you think of a name, argument it. I can tell you things that I thought, and they make absolutely no sense for anyone. They made sense to me. That doesn't mean that they're good, but they made sense to me. So please argument it. Yes, that's all I had. And thank you very much to the interpreter.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Have a good day. Take care.
Hope to see the
Good
new
day,
face. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.
All right, have a good one.
Bye.